Hi, sisters. Welcome to the Body Ally podcast, where we learn how to stop battling with our bodies and food from a faith-based approach. We learn instead how to be an ally with our bodies, partnering with them and accepting them as the gift that God intended. We're learning how to pursue health goals, not in an effort to prove value, but as an act of love. And I'm Carrie Nygaard, your host. All right, ladies, today we're getting into the three dangerous or destructive D's of dieting. You know, here's the funny thing is that it's when you start to learn about all the things that you've dealt with most of your life that you thought had to do with something being wrong with you, or thinking that you had a weakness, or that you were great in all sorts of areas of your life, but you couldn't seem to get this dieting thing geared down or buckled in or whatever it is. Or thinking if I could just be X amount of weight or lose X amount of pounds, then I could finally feel settled in the world. I want you to know that these ideas are not in harmony with acknowledging what your body actually is. Your body is a gift from God that allows you to live and move throughout time here on this earth. Dieting has some dangerous effects, and I call them the 3 Ds of dieting, or the 3 dangerous Ds of dieting. So I'm going to go ahead and delve into those. The first one is that dieting distracts you. Actually, let me just say the top 3, and then I'll go through each one. It distracts you, dieting distorts, and dieting distances. So the first one distracts. When you diet, it distracts you from your true purpose. It distracts you from your life goals, and it distracts you from being present. Back in about 2015, when I could not stop thinking about food, constant mental brain chatter about food, I just wanted to focus in on my children and on being a wife and on the other roles that I had in my community. I couldn't be present because my mind was constantly spinning and thinking about thoughts about food, what I should eat, what I couldn't eat, what was in the house that I'm going to eat or not going to eat. And as soon as I ate, what am I going to eat next? And if I eat the things that I can't resist eating that I'm not supposed to eat, what will I then do? And blah, 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 and on and on and on and on it went. All the meanwhile, the things that happened because of this is that I was totally distracted from the roles that were much more important to me in my life than losing weight or maintaining weight loss. Though that was important to me, it wasn't near as important as these other things in my life. Dieting distracts you from your purpose here on this earth and from other life goals. When you diet, it trips survival responses in your brain, and the symptoms of that survival response being flipped is excessive brain chatter thoughts about food, feeling like you can't trust yourself around food, strange out of control food behaviors like binging, all day grazing, like a chronic overeating, not wanting to eat more but feeling like you have to eat more. All of these are biological survival responses hardwired in your brain. And so when these things are tripped or that survival response is flipped, because you're dieting, because your lower brain, that where all the survival responses live, does not have the ability to distinguish between we're choosing not to eat this food as opposed to we can't eat this food, your brain goes into scarcity mode. And when your brain is in scarcity mode, you will not be able to come out of the survival parts of your brain into your conscious thinking higher brain. When you're in your higher thinking type part of your brain, your prefrontal cortex, you're thinking in terms of what do I want to create? How do I want to connect? How do I want to help and contribute in this world? Your ability to be present in each moment is up here in your prefrontal cortex. So if your survival responses are flipped, biology takes over, and therefore you become distracted from your purpose, from your life goals, and from being present in your life. So that's the first one. It distracts you. The second one is that dieting distorts. What does it distort? It distorts your worth. It distorts beauty, what makes something beautiful. And it leaves you feeling like worth, your individual worth, your personal worthiness or acceptability in this world is based upon some standards that are found outside in the world, in society. This is not biblical, right? If you're a spiritual person or a religious person or a Christian, You know that your creator created you. You did not create yourself. But when you're thinking, in order to feel acceptable in this world, I have to change the way I look to be as close to a beauty standard as possible. Now, I'm not saying that you give up and not have some type of preference or health goals. But what I'm saying is that when the motivating force behind those health goals is so that you get to feel beautiful by some made up standards out there in the world, then it will distort where your worth comes from. It distorts where you obtain your worth. It creates, some could say, even an idol, a form of body worship, where we think I don't get to feel right in this world unless my body is a specific whatever it may be, size, weight, whatever it may be. Realize I'm not saying to completely forsake health goals. I don't believe in big pendulum swings. I think that someone can fall out of bed on either side of the bed, right? I'm talking about coming to a place of sanity. I'm not talking about gluttony and overindulgence and pleasure and abuse of your body by neglecting its health. And I'm not talking about hyperfixating so much, thinking that you're going to achieve health through dieting when really all that does is trigger survival responses in your brain. What I'm talking about is coming to a place of sanity in the middle, where you pursue health not in an act of trying to earn your worth, but instead as an act of love for your body, your God-given gift. So diet mentality or dieting distracts you from your purpose, your life goals, and from being present. It distorts you from where you obtain your true worth. It distorts where beauty comes from, and it distorts where the idea of being worthy or enough in this world comes from. So it distracts and distorts. Those are the first two. And the third one is that it distances you. It distances you from yourself. It distances you from others, other relationships that are important to you, and it distances you from God. How does it distance you from yourself? Well, I can't tell you, out of the thousands of women that I've worked with, how many of them deal with endless thinking and internal self-talk where they're constantly assessing if they're right in the world based upon how their butt looks as compared to someone else's butt, or how their thighs look, or how their stomach or their upper arms look, constantly comparing. And when you're constantly comparing and sizing yourself up, guess what? It distances you from yourself and from other people to whom you're comparing yourself to. And in other ways, when you're absorbed in all of these survival responses being flipped, and when you're internally trying to think about being right in the world based upon what you do and don't eat, constantly spinning, constantly ruminating, constantly thinking that you have to gear up or buckle down, you're not able to be present in your relationships, whether it be with your spouse, with your friends, with your children, because you're constantly thinking in terms of if I'm good or bad in the world, or if I'm having a good or bad day based upon the foods that I do and don't eat. Food is not a case for morality. How many of you look at a day and determine if it's been good based upon the foods you did or didn't eat, or that it's been a bad day based upon the foods you did or did not eat, or in what quantity you ate them? I'm suggesting, yes, let's feed our bodies. Let's listen to our hunger cues. Let's honor the needs of our body and balance that out also with not trying to constrict and contrive. When you're constantly thinking about what am I going to eat or not eat, it's pretty difficult to stay present in the relationships with other people around you. You might be in a conversation, but your mind's drifting back to calculating out and thinking and taking inventory of what you did or didn't eat, or what you're going to eat or not eat moving forward. Someone recently shared with me is that she was watching a movie and she was constantly sizing up people's double chins, people's bellies, if they had one, if they didn't have one, constantly thinking and watching these things. It distances yourself from yourself, where you're constantly sizing yourself up, analyzing yourself, judging yourself. It keeps you distanced from other relationships in your life where you're not fully present, and it distances you from God. When it comes to female bodies, we have feminine energy. Feminine energy by nature is nurturing and kind. It nurtures life. And when you're constantly thinking about trying to earn your worth or have your survival responses flipped, it distances you from that innate ability. It distances you from God because it distances you from who you truly have been created to be and to whom you have been created. It's pretty difficult to be able to hear God in your life when you're constantly thinking about being right in the world based upon what you do or don't weigh, what you have or haven't eaten, or on how you look as compared to others around you. It distances you from yourself, from others, and from God. Okay, so let's run through them one really quick. What are the 3 dangerous D's of dieting or diet mentality? Is that it distracts you from your purpose, from your life goals, and from being present in your life. It distorts you from your worth, distorts what beauty is, and it distorts this idea of where you obtain your worth. It leads to a form of diet mentality or body worship through diet mentality. And the third thing is that it distances you from that relationship, from that connection with yourself, knowing what you do and don't like, also from that relationship with your body as well. I see this is a big one. Women who have dieted a lot have stopped listening to their body's needs, and they've outsourced knowing what their body needs based upon someone else's food template, someone else's calorie counting, someone else's macros, someone else's suggested point values for food. We do not earn our worth based upon what someone else says about a food or not. What does your body say? How does it feel in your body? Does it sustain energy? Does it support you? Does it feel good? Does your body digest it well? Do you actually enjoy it? So many women who've been in dieting for years will say, oh, I just love this food. But when they really get mindful with it, it wasn't that they love the food. It's that they held it in this sacred regard and in this special regard. I'll give you an example. I once coached a woman that said, I just love peanut butter. I love it so much. In my Weight Watchers days, I would save up my points till the end of the day to be able to have peanut butter, and I just love it. And I said, okay, and I recommended she go through a specific mindfulness exercise where she gets really quiet, really still, and strives to enjoy the peanut butter as much as possible by really being present with the way that it smells, the way that it feels in her mouth, the texture, the way that it tastes both in her mouth and how it feels going down her throat into her stomach. And as she went through this process, what she realized was that she didn't really like peanut butter after all. She didn't really like it. In fact, it was the anticipation of it being like this special treat, this decadent, creamy, densely caloric treat at the end of the day. Now, I'm not trying to talk anyone out of liking peanut butter. I like peanut butter. But this woman discovered that she did not actually like peanut butter when she got present with it. What's interesting is that dopamine, which is a feel-good hormone, is released not only in the eating of food, but also in the anticipation of it. She got so much dopamine released from just the anticipating of eating the peanut butter that she was not really even present in the moment to realize that she didn't actually enjoy it. In fact, she said when she ate it, that when she actually slowed down to figure out if she liked it, she thought that maybe the peanut butter had turned, and she made her family members try it. And they said, oh no, it's totally normal. And they're like, and she was just so surprised. She said, peanut butter has always tasted like this? I never realized it. Now, this kind of thing can be done with lots of different foods. I did this with hot tamales, the candy. I actually did this with other women in my program where they each chose a favorite food and then they slowed it down. Now, some women discover through slowing it down that the food that they enjoy, they actually do enjoy it. But by being mindful, they're actually able to distinguish to what amount do they actually obtain pleasure from that food, as opposed to what are just all of my thoughts and thinking and emotions around this food. All right, so those are the 3 dangerous D's of diet mentality: that it distracts you, it distorts your worth, and it distances you from yourself, others, and from God. All right, ladies, you need to know that in the description down below, it has the links if you desire to come to my free workshops that I have, or to go to my YouTube channel, or to join with me in my larger Freedom with Body and Food program. That's a paid community where people come in, they go through the modules, and they join a faith-based community, and they learn how to become free in terms of being able, it's called Freedom with Body and Food, or F. It's where they learn how to not struggle with food. It's where they learn how to settle those survival responses down in their brain so they can feel peaceful and in control around food. And they get to work closely with me more than once a week. All right, if that interests you, you can check the links down below. You can always email me, Kerrie@kerrienygaard.com, KerrieNygard. And thank you so much. Remember, you were not put here on this earth to constantly be thinking about food or losing fat, but instead to thrive and create and deliver